On Tuesday, April 15th, listeners of the Kelce Brothers podcast witnessed a deeply human moment, one that cut through the usual lighthearted banter and left an emotional imprint on viewers around the world. Wearing his trademark purple hoodie, Jason Kelce sat before the microphone. But this time, his voice wavered, his eyes glistened, and for a moment, he struggled to find the words. What began as a simple conversation about family quickly transformed into something far more poignant. When asked about how the family celebrated Easter this year, Jason paused. Then, with red-rimmed eyes and a voice thick with emotion, he shared a story that revealed the quiet, genuine heart of one of the world's most famous women. Taylor's not just Travis's girlfriend, he said, looking down and swallowing hard. She's part of my family. There was a long, weighty silence. Jason's words began to crack as he tried to continue. What really struck me, he said, pressing his hands over his face, was the way she cares. It's not just for Travis. She checks in on my mom. She spends time with Kylie. She talks to my daughters. Every person in my life, she sees them. She loves them like they're her own. Across the table, Travis Kelce responded not with words, but with something more powerful. A quiet, supportive glance and a subtle, comforting gesture, reaching across the emotional divide to reassure his brother in a moment of raw vulnerability. The podcast, typically filled with laughter and sports talk, fell into a hush. Viewers who tuned in via video could see it clearly. This wasn't a performance. This was family. This was real. Taylor Swift, celebrated around the world for her artistry, her fame, and her cultural impact, was being recognized here for something more private and profound, her quiet, unwavering devotion to the people behind the spotlight. She doesn't have to do any of it, Jason added softly, his voice still uneven. But she does, and she does it with her whole heart. This rare emotional display resonated deeply with audiences across social media, many of whom commented on the humility, love, and deep bonds shown in that one powerful exchange. In a world often defined by headlines and celebrity spectacle, this moment reminded us of something deeper, something universal. At its core, it was about love, kindness, and the extraordinary impact of showing up for others, even when no one's watching. As Jason Kelce continued, his voice softer now, he recalled more than just a holiday gathering. He shared a moment that spoke volumes about love, family, and the unexpected ways people can touch our lives. She helped Kylie in the kitchen, Jason said, his voice cracking again. And then she played with my girls for hours, just like any loving aunt would. My daughter calls her Auntie Tay. He paused, smiled faintly through the tears forming in his eyes. She even wants to sleep next to her. That's the kind of bond they've built. Beside him, Travis Kelce, usually the first to crack, a joke or throw a playful jab, was unusually quiet. His eyes, full of empathy, stayed fixed on his older brother. And then, in a rare moment of tenderness, he leaned in, placed a hand gently on Jason's shoulder, and whispered with sincerity that cut through the silence, "I know you, Jay. That's why I love her." It was a line that didn't need explanation. It was a truth shared between brothers, one forged through years of triumph, hardship, and unwavering loyalty. This deeply emotional exchange marked one of the most powerful moments the podcast had ever seen. Not just for its raw vulnerability, but for the insight it offered into the strength of the Kelce family bond and the grace with which Taylor Swift had been welcomed into it. Travis went on to share something Taylor had confided in him, a quiet admission, filled with gratitude and vulnerability. She told me, "Travis, I love the way your family embraces me like this. I've never felt this much like myself before." Jason, wiping his eyes, nodded slowly as his brother spoke. "That's right," he murmured. "She belongs with us, not because she's famous, not because she's my brother's girlfriend, but because her heart, Her heart is real. Despite their often fiery sibling banter and playful rivalry on the show, when it comes to family, Jason and Travis Kelce never fail to reveal the emotional core beneath the surface, the loyalty, the sincerity, and the love that ties them together. "We've been through a lot," Jason said quietly, glancing over at his brother. "From the football field to this podcast, I never thought I'd cry on air. But here we are." In a deeply personal moment later in the podcast, Kylie Kelce joined the conversation, her voice calm, reflective, and full of quiet admiration for someone who, in her words, had become more than just a guest in their lives. "She's not just a girl who loves someone," Kylie said softly. "She's a girl who loves our whole family." Kylie spoke about Taylor Swift not as a global superstar, but as a woman who walked into their world with humility and heart. "What makes Taylor different," she continued, "is that she doesn't come to be loved. She comes to love." It wasn't the grand gestures or headline-making appearances that defined her place in the Kelce family. It was the small, unspoken things, the moments few people ever see. "She takes the time to listen," Kylie said, "to really care, and to make each of us feel seen." Then, almost as an afterthought, Kylie revealed a memory that lingered with her. A quiet act of kindness, a birthday her mother had quietly celebrated, without expecting anything from anyone. "Taylor found out it was Mom's birthday," Kylie shared. "She didn't say anything. She didn't announce it or post about it. But a few days later, she gave her a gift. A beautifully framed photo of our family, with lyrics from Mom's favorite song written beneath it. No cameras, no attention, just love. It was a simple gesture, but one that said everything. In a world where so much is performative, where affection is often curated for the spotlight, Taylor's presence in the Kelce family has been something entirely different. Real, unspoken, and deeply felt. In these quiet moments, from playing with children to remembering a mother's birthday, Taylor Swift's connection with the Kelces has become more than just a relationship by association. It's become something rooted in sincerity, in presence, and in the kind of love that leaves a lasting mark on a family and on those watching from afar.